Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are diving straight into a really fascinating but honestly deeply concerning phenomenon. What exactly happens when modern true crime media recycles old, debunked misinformation? We're going to look at how wild internet speculation collides with real hard investigative science, and how treating random rumors as actual evidence has a massive, profound impact on real-world cases. Let's just get right into it.
I want you to really think about this for a second. What happens when a massive, high-budget documentary takes a totally baseless internet rumor and, polishes it up to look like newly discovered evidence? The danger here isn't just getting the story wrong. It's that the actual factual truth gets completely buried under an avalanche of crowdsourced conspiracy theories. It literally derails legitimate investigative findings.
So Netflix recently dropped a special on the tragic Idaho student murders. But instead of helping viewers actually understand an already heavily covered case, it kind of just revived old rumors and conspiracy theories, claims that were literally never supported by reliable evidence. And, this creates a totally predictable cycle, right? Streaming giants make old misinformation profitable again, viewers who are brand new to the case come in and treat this recycled speculation as breaking news, and suddenly victims' families and real investigators are forced to relive years-old misinformation all over again. It's just a mess.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, the misinformation machine. Rumors disguised as evidence.
Just look at the sheer volume of claims that have resurfaced around the Idaho case. We're talking about wild rumors of one victim being an FBI informant, insane connections to secret underground tunnels, or cartel-style hits. You even have completely random online accounts, like this Papa Roger guy, or totally innocent delivery drivers being accused of involvement. Look, these aren't just harmless what-ifs. When people repeat them as facts, they turn a horrific real-world tragedy into some sort of fictionalized thriller.
And there is a massive boundary we've got to establish right here. Asking reasonable questions about an investigation, totally normal, totally fine. But inventing wild, out-there theories just because the real answer feels too ordinary, or maybe it just isn't dramatic enough for the social media algorithms, that crosses a major ethical line.
Take the two killers myth. One of the most persistent claims online is that one person couldn't possibly have committed these attacks in the available time. People jump straight to the conclusion that, there must have been a coordinated team. But guys, the reality of criminal history shows us that an incredibly fast, violent attack by just one person against multiple victims is, unfortunately, entirely possible. The sheer speed of the attacks, or victims being in different rooms, doesn't automatically prove a conspiracy. You absolutely cannot just look at an incomplete, public picture of a crime scene or read some assumptions in a YouTube comment section and declare that a second attacker was required. That's just not how it works.
And then there's the infamous glove theory. The internet became completely obsessed with a quote-unquote mysterious glove found outside the taped-off crime scene. But let's be real. An item found outside a secured perimeter in an area literally swarming with reporters, onlookers, and pedestrians is practically meaningless without a documented forensic link. Without DNA, without blood, or a proper chain of custody, calling a glove mysterious doesn't magically transform it into forensic evidence. It's just a glove on the ground.
We see the exact same pattern with the whole open door story and the vehicle debate. Online, versions of this open door thing vary wildly. Maybe a woman walking her dog saw it early, or maybe a guy noticed it later. But a single detail without context is not a case theory. Same goes for police refining the model year of a suspect's car. That's just normal, everyday investigative work. It's not a massive police cover-up. The internet's habit of pointing fingers at literally every silver sedan in the region is just noise. It's not real sleuthing.
Moving on to Section 2, misunderstanding law and science. Procedure is not a conspiracy.
A huge driver of all these viral rumors is honestly just a simple lack of scientific literacy. Take CODIS, for example. It's a law enforcement DNA system governed by very strict rules, and it is fundamentally different from consumer genealogy databases, the ones you might use to find out where your ancestors are from. Taking a consumer DNA test does not, I repeat, does not automatically grant police unrestricted access to your genetic data or your entire family tree. We really need to push back hard against this sensationalism and understand the actual rules that govern these totally separate systems.
And the exact same illiteracy applies to the law. When a defendant stands silent and a judge enters a not guilty plea on their behalf, the internet almost always cries cover-up, claiming the guy is being silenced or railroaded. But actually, scratch that, this is just step 1, the defendant exercising their constitutional right to remain silent. Step 2 is simply the court entering the plea to keep the wheels turning. This is the justice system working properly, exactly the way it was designed to,
It's procedure, guys, not a cover-up.
Oh, and then we have what I like to call television logic. Because the suspect was a doctoral student studying criminology, people automatically assume he should have been this flawless criminal mastermind. But let's be real, an academic interest in criminal behavior does not magically grant someone the practical skill or the emotional discipline to avoid leaving a giant trail of physical and digital evidence. Real life just isn't a television script.
So, it is absolutely crucial to remind ourselves what does not constitute actual evidence. Being awkward in a TikTok video? Not evidence. Delivering food on a routine route? Not evidence. Simply being in the neighborhood? Again, not evidence. Unrelated individuals should never be used as props in a mystery story just to juice up social media views. An algorithm might find someone quote-unquote suspicious, but out here in the real world, you need actual documented facts.
Which brings us to Section 3, the selective storytelling problem. Entertaining, but incomplete documentaries.
As you'll see here, this is actually a massive, systemic pattern across major true crime hits. Think about Making a Murderer. It raised completely valid, legitimate debates about interrogation tactics, right? But it also created a distorted impression by omitting a ton of damaging context just to favor one side. Or the Gabby Petito coverage, which rightfully highlighted domestic violence, but treated highly personal, emotional letters as definitive proof using dramatic editing. And the John Benet Ramsey documentaries? They constantly present personal suspicion of family members as established fact, while completely ignoring any contradictory evidence.
So the absolutely crucial point here is this. A true crime documentary can be incredibly well made, super emotionally powerful, and absolutely gripping, and still leave out the exact facts that complicate its preferred narrative. A documentary is just a piece of media. It is not a complete objective case file. It is so important to approach all true crime programming with a really healthy dose of caution.
All right, let's look at Section 4, the cost of true crime, demanding intellectual honesty.
Look, if someone is going to create true crime content, they really must adhere to some basic responsibilities. They need to sit down and read actual court filings and official police statements, not just scroll through social media summaries. They need to know the basic difference between an arraignment and a trial. Creators don't need a law degree, obviously, but they absolutely must have intellectual honesty. If someone can't distinguish between a random internet rumor and an actual investigative finding, they really shouldn't be presenting themselves as an authority to millions of viewers.
Ultimately, we have to remember this. Real victims are not characters, surviving witnesses are not plot devices, and families are certainly not supporting cast members. This thought grounds everything we've talked about today in the real human cost. Because when we turn real homicide cases into entertainment puzzle boxes, obsessing over secret tunnels and mysterious gloves, we are doing real, lasting damage to the actual people involved.
So next time you hit play on one of these specials, I want you to ask yourself, are you treating recycled rumors as new evidence simply because a streaming platform decided to make another series? Demand the facts. Always question the narrative. And please, don't let polished editing replace actual evidence. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you next time.